Visual novels are usually accused of being books with buttons, walls of text, endless dialogue, and hours of reading. Dear Me, I Was looks at that and says, what if we just didn't? No words, no voices, just watercolor art, rotoscoped animation, and a piano score telling the story of one woman's life from childhood to old age. It's a bold swing from Arc System Works, better known for Guilty Gear Flash and Anime Fighters. But here they've gone full art house short film. And the kicker? It works, sometimes brilliantly, sometimes frustratingly. Across about an hour, you watch a nameless protagonist grow up. Each chapter begins with a breakfast ritual, milk and fruit as a kid, coffee and croissants as an adult, something simpler later in life. That tiny mechanic, picking what to eat, becomes a clever ritual marker of time passing. You jump into snapshot moments, childhood joy, teenage doubt, love, loss, art, regret, fleeting happiness. No shocking twists, no melodramatic reveals, just slices of a life that hit harder because they feel ordinary. And let's be clear, the presentation does the heavy lifting. Taisuke Kanazaki, art director of cult DS classics like Hotel Dusk, crafts every scene as a moving watercolor painting. Colors fade to grayscale when despair creeps in, bloom into full vibrancy when hope sparks again. The animation, rotoscope from live actors, gives characters subtle weight, small shifts in posture, quiet smiles, that one glance that tells you more than a page of dialogue could. Pair that with a plaintive piano soundtrack that rises and falls with each emotional beat, and suddenly this silent story speaks volumes. But here's the rub, as an actual game, Dear Me I Was barely exists. Interaction is minimal, click a food item, drag a line to sketch, hold a button to open a ring box or to close it shut. These moments aren't puzzles or challenges. They're meant to put your hands in sync with the characters. And yes, when you're closing a jewelry box or holding a dying parent's hand, the act of clicking makes you complicit in a way that hits deeper than just watching. But it's fleeting and sometimes feels like busy work, especially compared to something like Florence, which wrung way more out of equally simple mechanics. So, what do we make of this? On one hand, it's art. A moving meditation on creativity, memory, and the passage of time, done with restraint and sincerity. Players reported crying, reflecting on their own lives, even comparing it to Studio Ghibli's Only Yesterday, a perfect touchstone, since both works find profundity in the mundane. On the other hand, it's 45 minutes for $8. And if you're the kind of player who equates price to hours of content, this will feel like an expensive slideshow. You can already hear the Steam reviews, not a game. Watched on YouTube, 610, the critical split backs this up. Some hailed it as proof games can be true art, praising the storytelling and devastating epilogue. Others dinged it for being too short, too shallow mechanically, too much like a movie that just happened to require controller inputs. Even fans who loved it admitted they wished some moments lingered longer or that interactivity had more teeth. And that's the paradox. The game is short because life is short, abrupt because memory is abrupt, silent because words can't always carry the weight. You can argue it nails that theme by design, or you can argue it hides behind pretension. Both readings are fair. For me, Dear Me, I Was. Plans as a rare one-sitting experience you don't forget. It's not about mastery or replay loops or deep mechanics. It's about catching you off guard with a watercolor to the chest and reminding you that even the smallest, quietest rituals are worth remembering. If you're into games that challenge what games even mean, titles like Florence, Journey, or To the Moon, this belongs on your list. If you're chasing playtime per dollar or crunchy mechanics, you'll bounce off in record time. But either way, it's worth talking about. And that's what we do here at Veteran Game, cut through the noise, call it how we see it. If this kind of no BS deep dive into weird little experiments and hidden gems is your thing, hit subscribe. Toss a like if you've ever eaten a sad breakfast in an RPG and felt like it was saying more than the boss fight that followed. Final thought. Dear Me I Was might not be a game in the traditional sense, but maybe that's the point. Do you think the label even matters when the art lands? Or should we hold the line on what counts as a game? I want to hear it in the comments.